Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when uncertainty feels heavier than the burdens we can explain. We stand in front of closed doors, unanswered prayers, delayed opportunities, and silent seasons that seem to stretch far beyond our strength. We ask questions in the middle of the night. We wonder why things are not changing. We worry about tomorrow, about finances, relationships, health, family, and purpose. We try to solve problems that only time can reveal. Yet in all of this, there is one truth that can steady the trembling heart. God knows which door is yours. You may not know the path ahead, but God does. You may not understand the delay, but God does. You may not see the reason a certain opportunity closed, but God does. Many times what we call disappointment is actually divine protection. What we call rejection is often redirection. What we call delay is sometimes preparation. If every door you wanted opened immediately, you might walk into places that would damage your peace, drain your strength, or distract you from your calling. Worry begins when we assume the future depends entirely on us. Anxiety grows when we believe we must force every answer, arrange every connection, and create every breakthrough by our own effort. But peace comes when we remember that God has already gone before us. He is not surprised by tomorrow. He is not confused by your circumstances. He is not searching for solutions. He already knows where the right door stands, when it will open, and what blessing waits on the other side. There are doors that look attractive but are not meant for you. There are opportunities that seem perfect on the surface but carry hidden pain. There are relationships that appear promising but would lead to heartbreak. There are shortcuts that seem convenient but would cost you your integrity. If God closes a door, do not assume He is being cruel. Sometimes His mercy says no when your emotions say yes. Sometimes His wisdom blocks what your impatience would choose. Think about how often people waste years grieving over closed doors. They replay conversations, revisit failures, and question their worth because something did not work out. But what if that closed door was not punishment? What if it was protection? What if the thing you cried over was the very thing that would have harmed you later? God sees what you cannot see. He knows the conversations behind doors you never entered. He knows the trouble you were spared. He knows the tears you were saved from shedding. When the right door is yours, no person can permanently keep it shut. No competition can steal it. No delay can cancel it. No mistake can destroy what God is determined to bring into your life. People may resist you. Circumstances may slow you. Seasons may test you. But if God has appointed something for you, it will arrive in the proper time. That truth should calm every restless thought in your mind. This does not mean you do nothing. It means you stop striving in fear. You continue walking in faith. You prepare. You pray. You grow. You stay faithful in small things. You become the person who can carry the blessing when it arrives. Too many people want the open door without the preparation required behind it. They want success without character, increase without discipline, influence without humility. God often uses waiting seasons to shape your inner life so that the blessing does not destroy you when it comes. Some of you are standing in a hallway season. One door has closed, but another has not yet opened. Hallways are uncomfortable places. They feel narrow, temporary, uncertain. You can hear echoes of your own thoughts there. You may feel forgotten there, but hallways are not permanent. They are transition spaces. God often does His deepest work in the hallway. He teaches trust there. He develops patience there. He removes unhealthy dependence there. He clears your vision there. Do not let worry talk you out of faith while you are in the hallway. Worry will tell you nothing good is coming. Worry will whisper that everyone else is moving ahead while you remain stuck. Worry will insist that the closed door was your only chance. But worry is a liar. God is never limited to one opportunity. He can create doors where walls once stood. He can bring favor from unexpected places. He can do in a moment what years of human effort could never accomplish. There is also danger in chasing every open door simply because it is available. Not every open door is a God door. Some doors open to test your discernment. Some open to expose your motives. Some open because the enemy wants to distract you with something good enough to make you miss something greater. This is why prayer matters. Peace matters. Wisdom matters. If a door requires you to compromise your values, abandon your peace, or betray your convictions, it is too expensive no matter how attractive it appears. The right door often comes with peace, clarity, and alignment. It may still require courage, effort, and faith, but it will not demand the surrender of your soul. When God opens a door, there is a sense that though challenges remain, grace is present, strength rises, resources appear, Timing aligns. What once seemed impossible begins to move. Perhaps today you are worried because something has not happened yet. You thought by now you would be married, established, healed, promoted, secure, or settled. You compare your timeline with others and feel left behind. But comparison is poison to peace. God writes different stories for different lives. What is early for someone else may be late for you, and what seems late for you may be perfectly timed by God. Trust His calendar more than the pressure around you. Take your hands off what only God can open. Release the need to control every outcome. Stop exhausting yourself trying to break through doors that remain shut. If you must force it, manipulate it, beg for it, or become someone false to obtain it, it is not worth having. What God gives, He gives with wisdom and purpose. Today, choose trust over torment. Choose prayer over panic. Choose patience over pressure. The same God who guided you through past uncertainty is guiding you now. The same God who carried you through closed chapters is preparing a new one. The same God who knows your name knows your future. So lift your head, calm your heart, keep walking faithfully, keep growing quietly, keep believing steadily. Somewhere ahead, at the exact right time, the right door will open, and when it does, you will understand why the others had to remain closed. There is great comfort in knowing that your life is not left to chance, confusion, or the careless movement of circumstances. Many people wake up each day carrying the pressure of trying to figure everything out on their own. They believe every decision rests entirely on their shoulders. Every opportunity must be chased by their own strength, and every closed door means something has gone wrong. That way of living creates fear, stress, and exhaustion. But peace begins when you understand that God knows the right door for your life. He sees what you cannot see. He knows what is ahead before you ever arrive there. He understands the paths that will bless you and the paths that would break you. Human vision is limited. We often judge by appearances. We see a position with a higher salary and assume it must be right. We see a relationship that feels exciting and assume it must be meant to be. We see an opportunity that others admire and think we must have it in order to succeed. But God looks deeper than appearances. He sees motives, timing, hidden dangers, and long-term consequences. What looks attractive to you may be destructive in the future. What feels disappointing now may be the very thing saving you from pain later. Because God sees the whole picture, He is able to guide you better than your own emotions ever could. Many people suffer because they keep trying to enter doors that were never meant for them. They spend years forcing relationships, chasing approval, pursuing careers that empty their soul, or comparing themselves with the lives of others. They believe if something does not happen quickly, they must push harder. Yet sometimes the greatest wisdom is not pushing harder, but trusting deeper. If a door remains shut despite your honest effort, prayer, and patience, perhaps it is not yours. God does not deny you out of cruelty. He redirects you out of love. Think about how often disappointment later reveals hidden mercy. A person may be devastated over a job they did not get, only to later discover a better opportunity that matched their gifts more fully. Someone may grieve a broken relationship, only to later understand that staying would have caused years of sorrow. A delay that once felt painful can later appear as perfect timing. In the moment, it is hard to understand. But in time, many people look back and say they are grateful certain doors never opened. God's direction is not based only on what you want today. It is connected to who you are becoming tomorrow. He knows your purpose, your strengths, your weaknesses, and the places where you will flourish. He knows where your gifts can be used, where your heart can grow, and where your faith can deepen. He also knows the environments that would drain you, tempt you, or lead you away from what matters most. Because of this, His guidance often protects both your future and your character. Sometimes people ask why they feel stuck while others seem to move ahead. They see friends succeeding, building families, advancing careers, and stepping into new seasons while their own lives seem delayed. This can create frustration and insecurity, but every person has a different journey. God does not work from comparison. He works from purpose. What opens early for one person may open later for another. What comes quickly for someone else may need deeper preparation in your life. Delay does not mean denial. It often means development. There are seasons when God prepares you before He promotes you. He teaches patience before responsibility. He develops humility before influence. He strengthens discipline before abundance. Many people pray for open doors but resist the preparation required to walk through them wisely. If success arrives before maturity, it can become a burden. If blessing arrives before character, it can be wasted. If opportunity arrives before wisdom, it can be mishandled. God knows not only the right door, but the right timing. This is why trust matters so deeply. Trust means believing that even when you do not understand the process, God understands it fully. Trust means refusing to panic when things do not move according to your schedule. Trust means staying faithful in small things while waiting for larger things. Trust means continuing to grow when no visible progress appears. The person who trusts God learns to rest in seasons that once would have created anxiety. God's right door for your life may not always be the easiest door. Sometimes it requires courage. Sometimes it asks you to leave comfort behind. Sometimes it calls you into unfamiliar territory. Sometimes it stretches your faith beyond what feels safe. But the right door will align with peace, purpose, and growth. It may challenge you, but it will not require you to betray your values. It may demand effort, but it will not destroy your soul. It may stretch your capacity, but it will also come with grace to sustain you. You do not need to obsess over every possible path. You do not need to fear missing your destiny because of one mistake. God is greater than your errors. He is able to redirect, restore, and reposition you. Even when you choose wrongly at times, He can still guide you back. His ability to lead your life is stronger than your ability to confuse it. That truth should bring tremendous relief to anyone carrying regret. When you know God has the right door for your life, you stop envying the doors of others. You stop chasing what was never assigned to you. You stop measuring your worth by timelines and public appearances. You begin to value the unique path prepared for you. Peace grows when you understand that someone else's opportunity does not reduce your own. Their blessing does not cancel yours. What is meant for you cannot be stolen by another person. So continue to pray, continue to work, continue to prepare, and continue to walk faithfully each day. But do it from a place of confidence rather than panic. Your future is not random. Your life is not forgotten. Your path is not hidden from God. He knows the door that matches your calling, your season, your needs, and your purpose. He knows when to close what would harm you, when to delay what would overwhelm you, and when to open what will bless you beyond expectation. One of the hardest truths for people to accept is that closed doors can be acts of divine protection. Most people naturally celebrate open doors and grieve closed ones. We assume that if something works out easily, it must be right, and if something is blocked, it must be wrong. We often interpret rejection as failure, delay as abandonment, and disappointment as defeat. Yet many times the very doors that remain closed are the ones that would have brought confusion, pain, regret, and loss into our lives. What feels like denial in the moment may actually be mercy working quietly behind the scenes. Human beings are limited by what they can see. We look at surfaces, emotions, appearances, and immediate benefits. We see the salary, the attraction, the popularity, the convenience, or the excitement. We do not always see the hidden stress, toxic environment, future heartbreak, spiritual emptiness, or destructive consequences attached to those things. God sees beyond the visible moment. He knows what lies down the road. He knows the conversations you have not heard, the motives you have not detected, the danger you have not noticed, and the sorrow you have not imagined. Because He sees what you cannot, a closed door can be one of the greatest gifts you receive. Many people carry wounds because they keep interpreting rejection as a statement about their worth. They assume that if they were more talented, more attractive, more connected, or more capable, the door would have opened. But not every closed door is a reflection of your value. Sometimes it is simply evidence of God's direction. A relationship ending does not always mean you were not enough. A missed opportunity does not always mean you failed. A plan collapsing does not always mean your future is ruined. It may simply mean that what you desired was not designed for your destiny. Think of the relationships people chase despite warning signs. They ignore lack of peace, repeated dishonesty, conflicting values, and inner discomfort because they fear being alone. They force doors open with emotional effort, only to later experience heartbreak, betrayal, and years of pain. Had the door remained closed, much suffering could have been avoided. What looked like love was actually a lesson. What looked like an opportunity was actually a trap. Sometimes the pain of losing something early saves you from deeper pain later. The same is true with careers and business opportunities. A person may desperately want a certain job, position, or deal. They imagine it will solve all their problems and secure their future. But some opportunities come with hidden cost, constant anxiety, unethical expectations, unhealthy environments, loss of family time, or damage to one's integrity. If God blocks something that looks profitable, it may be because He values your peace more than your paycheck. He may be preserving your health, your character, or your future from a burden disguised as success. Closed doors also teach humility. Many people believe they know exactly what should happen and when it should happen. They become frustrated when life does not obey their schedule. But there is wisdom in learning that not every desire should be fulfilled immediately. Some things need to be denied because they would feed pride, impatience, selfishness, or dependence on the wrong things. A closed door can reveal motives hidden in the heart. It can show whether you wanted something for purpose or merely for ego. There are seasons when people pray for one thing while God is preparing something greater. They cry over one lost chance, not realizing 10 better possibilities are still unseen. They become fixated on one person, one plan, one timeline, or one path, forgetting that God is never limited to a single option. When one door closes, it does not mean all hope is gone. It means that particular path is not the one meant to carry you forward. New doors can appear in ways you never expected. Sometimes closed doors protect you from your own unreadiness. There are blessings people ask for that they are not yet mature enough to handle. Success without discipline can destroy character. Influence without humility can create arrogance. Wealth without wisdom can become ruin. Marriage without emotional maturity can become conflict. Responsibility without preparation can become collapse. God may close a door not because the blessing is wrong, but because the timing is wrong. What He delays today may become safe tomorrow. People often discover this truth only in hindsight. Years later, they look back at what once broke their heart and realize it saved their life. They remember the relationship that ended, the move that failed, the job they lost, the plan that collapsed. At the time, they cried, questioned, and worried. Later, they recognized that had things gone their way, they would have entered seasons of pain they were never meant to carry. Time has a way of revealing the kindness hidden inside disappointment. This understanding changes how you respond to setbacks. Instead of assuming every obstacle is punishment, you begin to ask whether it may be protection. Instead of panicking when something falls apart, you learn to pause and trust. Instead of forcing doors through desperation, manipulation, or fear, you wait for what comes with peace and alignment. Wisdom grows when you stop measuring success only by what opens and begin measuring it also by what wisely remains closed. Closed doors can also strengthen faith. They teach you that your security is not in a specific person, job, or plan. They remind you that God is the source, not the door itself. Too often people become attached to one method and forget the one who provides. When that method closes, they feel hopeless. But God may be teaching you to trust Him rather than the channel through which blessing might come. If one path closes, He can create another. You do not need to spend your life mourning every closed chapter. Some chapters ended because they had completed their purpose. Some doors shut because you outgrew them. Some remain locked because entering would have wounded you. Some closed so that better ones could become visible. Carrying resentment over what did not happen only delays gratitude for what still can happen. There is peace in releasing what God has blocked. There is freedom in accepting that not everything you wanted was good for you. There is strength in believing that rejection can redirect you towards something healthier, wiser, and more aligned with your purpose. The pain of a closed door may be real, but pain does not mean the closure was wrong. Many times it simply means growth is taking place, attachments are being broken, and new vision is beginning to form. So when something does not work out, do not rush to call it disaster. What seems like loss today may be one of the greatest protections of your life. What feels like disappointment now may become tomorrow's gratitude. What you could not understand in tears may later become clear in thankfulness. Some of the most loving things God does are the things He refuses to let you have. Waiting seasons are often the most misunderstood parts of life. People usually celebrate movement, progress, promotion, and visible success, but they struggle to value seasons where nothing seems to change. When prayers appear unanswered, opportunities feel delayed, and doors remain closed, many assume they are forgotten or falling behind. Yet some of the most important work God does in a person's life happens during waiting seasons. What feels empty on the outside is often full of transformation on the inside. Waiting seasons build faith and character in ways instant success never could. Most people want blessings quickly, but few understand the danger of receiving something before they are ready. If responsibility arrives before maturity, it can crush a person. If influence comes before humility, it can corrupt them. If abundance appears before discipline, it can be wasted. If relationships begin before healing, they can become unhealthy. God often withholds certain things not to punish you, but to prepare you. The delay is not proof of neglect. It is evidence that development matters more than speed. Waiting challenges the human desire for control. People like schedules, timelines, and predictable outcomes. They want to know when something will happen, how it will happen, and what the result will be. But waiting removes that illusion of control. It teaches you to trust when you cannot track progress. It teaches you to believe when there is no visible evidence. It teaches you to stand steady when emotions are uncertain. Faith grows strongest not when everything is clear, but when clarity is absent and trust still remains. Many people think faith is easy when doors are opening, finances are increasing, relationships are healthy, and life feels smooth. But real faith is formed when nothing around you confirms what you hope for. It is developed when you continue praying after repeated silence, continue obeying after repeated delays, and continue believing after repeated disappointments. Anyone can be hopeful when results are immediate. It takes spiritual strength to remain hopeful when time stretches longer than expected. Waiting seasons also expose what is inside the heart. When life slows down, impatience rises to the surface. Fear becomes visible. Envy often appears as people compare themselves to others who seem ahead. Hidden insecurities become harder to ignore. This can feel uncomfortable, but exposure is often the first step toward healing. God may allow waiting not only to prepare your future, but to reveal areas in your heart that need growth now. Pride, bitterness, anxiety, and dependence on approval cannot stay hidden forever in still seasons. Character is rarely built in applause. It is usually built in obscurity. It forms when no one notices your consistency. It deepens when you remain honest, though dishonesty might seem easier. It strengthens when you keep serving, though recognition is absent. It matures when you choose patience instead of resentment. Waiting seasons are often quiet classrooms where integrity, discipline, humility, and perseverance are taught daily through ordinary moments. Consider how many people want the reward but avoid the process. They desire leadership but resist responsibility. They want success but dislike sacrifice. They ask for doors to open but ignore the habits needed to sustain what lies behind those doors. Waiting seasons confront this imbalance. They ask whether you truly want growth or only outcomes. They reveal whether you seek purpose or merely comfort. The person who uses waiting wisely becomes stronger, wiser, steadier, and more capable. Waiting can also purify motives. Sometimes people pursue goals for the wrong reasons. They want success to impress others, relationships to escape loneliness, or achievements to prove worth. Delay has a way of testing these motives. If something takes longer than expected, shallow reasons begin to lose power. What remains is often deeper and more genuine. By the time the blessing arrives, the desire may be healthier, purer, and aligned with purpose rather than ego. Another gift of waiting is learning contentment. Many people postpone peace until some future milestone. They tell themselves they will rest once they are promoted, secure once they are married, happy once they move, fulfilled once they achieve more. But waiting teaches that peace cannot depend on future circumstances alone. If you cannot find gratitude in the present, success may not satisfy you later either. Waiting invites you to discover joy in growth, relationships, service, and daily grace, instead of only in future results. There is also strength developed through endurance. Muscles grow under resistance, and so does the soul. When you keep going through delay, you build resilience. When you keep showing up through uncertainty, you build steadiness. When you continue doing right through frustration, you build inner strength. These qualities become invaluable later. The very endurance learned in waiting seasons often becomes the foundation that helps you carry future blessings responsibly. People often compare their waiting season with someone else's harvest season. They see others advancing and assume they are behind. But comparison creates unnecessary pain because it ignores unseen details. You do not know another person's preparation, struggles, timing, or assignment. Every life has a different path. Some things bloom early, others later. Some foundations take longer because what will be built upon them is larger. Delay in your story may simply mean greater preparation for a different purpose. Waiting seasons are also opportunities to deepen relationship with God. When distractions lessen and quick fixes fail, people often pray more honestly. They seek wisdom more sincerely. They learn to depend on God rather than circumstances. They begin to know peace that does not rely on visible progress. Many discover during delay a closeness with God they never knew during busier, easier times. The season they wanted to escape becomes the season that changed them most deeply. This does not mean waiting is easy. It can be frustrating, lonely, and emotionally tiring. There may be days when doubt feels louder than hope. There may be moments when you wonder if anything is happening at all. Yet growth is often hidden before it is visible. Seeds develop underground long before they break the surface. In the same way, progress may be occurring within you long before circumstances reflect it around you. Use waiting seasons wisely. Build habits now. Learn discipline now. Strengthen faith now. Heal wounds now. Develop skills now. Serve faithfully now. Become the kind of person who can sustain the answer when it comes. If you waste the season only complaining, you may miss the gift hidden inside it. But if you embrace the season, you can emerge transformed. Many people later realize the waiting season was not the interruption they thought it was. It was the preparation they needed. It taught them patience they now rely on, wisdom they now value, strength they now carry, and trust they now treasure. What once felt like being held back was actually being built up. What once seemed like delay was the shaping of a life ready for what was ahead. One of the greatest battles people face is not always around them, but within them. It is the struggle between trust and worry. Worry speaks loudly, constantly, and urgently. It tells you that something bad is about to happen, that you are running out of time, that you must fix everything immediately, and that if you cannot control every detail, your future will collapse. Trust speaks differently. It is calm, steady, and quiet. It reminds you that God is still in control, that your life is not falling apart, and that what concerns you has not escaped His attention. Every day, every person chooses which voice will lead their thoughts. Worry often feels productive, but it rarely produces anything valuable. It drains energy without solving problems. It steals peace without adding wisdom. It keeps the mind busy but leaves the heart exhausted. Many people spend hours imagining negative outcomes that never happen. They replay conversations, predict disasters, and carry burdens that do not yet exist. While they are consumed by fear about tomorrow, they lose the strength needed for today. Worry makes the future seem larger than God, and the present seem impossible to manage. Trust does not mean pretending challenges are unreal. Trust means believing that challenges are real, but God is greater. It means facing uncertainty without surrendering to panic. It means acknowledging that you do not know every answer, yet knowing the one who does. Trust is not denial. It is confidence rooted in something stronger than circumstances. It allows a person to walk through difficulty with steadiness instead of chaos. Many people worry because they believe everything depends on them. They feel responsible to hold every relationship together, secure every opportunity, predict every danger, and guarantee every outcome. This creates enormous pressure because no human being was designed to carry that role. You were never meant to be the ruler of every event in your life. There are limits to your control, limits to your foresight, and limits to your strength. Peace begins when you accept those limits and place what is beyond you into God's hands. Trust also requires surrender. This is difficult because people naturally want certainty. They want timelines, guarantees, visible signs, and immediate answers. But faith often grows in places where certainty is absent. You may not know when the answer will come. You may not know how the situation will change. You may not understand why the delay continues. Yet trust says that even without complete information, you can still rest in God's wisdom. Surrender is not weakness. It is the strength to release what you cannot control. Worry has a way of shrinking perspective. It makes one problem feel like the whole story. A financial challenge becomes the end of hope. A closed door becomes the end of opportunity. A delay becomes the end of progress. But trust widens perspective. It remembers that one chapter is not the whole book. One setback is not the whole future. One disappointment is not the end of purpose. Trust sees beyond the current moment and believes that God can still create good from what feels difficult now. Another danger of worry is that it often leads people to force outcomes. They become impatient and make rushed decisions. They enter wrong relationships because they fear loneliness. They accept unhealthy opportunities because they fear delay. They compromise values because they fear missing out. They move ahead without peace because they cannot tolerate waiting. Fear-driven decisions may offer temporary relief, but they often create deeper pain later. Trust gives you the patience to wait for what is right rather than grabbing what is immediate. Trust over worry also changes how you handle daily life. Instead of waking each morning with dread, you begin with prayer. Instead of feeding anxious thoughts, you feed your mind with truth. Instead of assuming the worst, you remain open to the good God can do. Instead of carrying tomorrow's burdens today, you focus on today's responsibilities. This does not remove every challenge, but it changes the spirit in which you face them. Many people think peace will come only when circumstances improve. They say they will relax when the money arrives, when the doctor report changes, when the relationship is restored, when the promotion comes, or when the uncertainty ends. But if peace depends entirely on circumstances, it will always remain fragile. Trust creates a deeper peace that can exist even before answers arrive. It is the peace of knowing that while situations may still be unresolved, God is not absent. Trust must often be practiced repeatedly. Worry returns easily because the mind is used to old patterns. Some people have trained themselves for years to expect disaster, overthink every detail, and live in constant tension. Changing this pattern takes intention. When anxious thoughts rise, choose prayer again. When fear whispers, choose truth again. When impatience grows, choose surrender again. Trust is strengthened through repetition, much like a muscle grows through consistent use. Remember also how many times God has carried you before. There were past seasons you thought would break you, yet you survived them. There were needs you did not know how to meet, yet provision came. There were closed doors that later made sense. There were painful chapters that produced wisdom and strength. Looking back can strengthen faith moving forward. The God who helped you then has not changed now. Choosing trust does not mean you will never feel concern. Human emotions are real. There will be moments of uncertainty and days when fear tries to rise. But concern can become prayer instead of panic. Questions can become dependence instead of despair. Feelings do not have to rule you. You can feel pressure and still choose peace. You can face uncertainty and still choose faith. There is freedom in admitting that you do not have to manage everything. You do not need to know every step today. You do not need to solve next month before living this day. You do not need to carry burdens that belong to God. Your responsibility is faithfulness, obedience, wisdom, and daily trust. God's responsibility is the outcomes beyond your reach. As you choose trust over worry, your mind becomes clearer. Your decisions become wiser. Your heart becomes lighter. You begin noticing blessings worry once blinded you to. Gratitude returns. Strength returns. Hope returns. The same situations may remain for a time, but you are no longer crushed beneath them because you are no longer carrying them alone. So when worry rises, let it become a reminder to turn back toward trust. When fear grows loud, answer it with faith. When tomorrow tries to invade today, return to the present grace available now. Life becomes steadier when trust, not anxiety, becomes the atmosphere of the heart. As we reflect on everything shared today, remember this powerful truth. Your life is not random, your delays are not meaningless, and your closed doors are not the end of your story. God knows exactly which door belongs to you, and He is never confused about your future. What feels like rejection may be protection. What feels like waiting may be preparation. What feels like silence may be the moment God is building strength, faith, and character within you. Every season has purpose, even the ones you do not understand right now. Do not allow worry to steal the peace that comes from trusting God. Anxiety will always demand answers, but faith learns to rest without seeing the whole plan. You may not know when the right door will open, but you can be certain it will open at the right time. No person can stop it, no delay can cancel it, and no mistake can destroy what God has prepared for you. Stay faithful where you are. Keep growing in the waiting season and keep trusting the one who sees what you cannot see. One day you will look back and thank God for the doors that stayed closed, the seasons that made you stronger, and the path that led you exactly where you were meant to be. Until then, walk forward with confidence, peace, and hope, knowing that God is already ahead of you, preparing the way. Trust God's timing because the right door will open at the perfect moment.